Convo's show this morning. We are going to be talking about what to do when you feel overwhelmed. Misty, I'm going to let you open us again since this is what you were kind of struggling with today. I was like, I don't really have any ideas for today. Misty, what do you got going on? So, Misty, I'll let you get us started.
Yeah, I got a lot that's present there. So I the concept of how to stay grounded in overwhelm, very present for me today. I'm just coming off of a 4 day. I was gone Wednesday through Saturday, so a 4 day retreat facilitating that, and then tomorrow I leave for Croatia for 2 weeks, and this is something that is it's like a dream come true. I mean, it's so beautiful. I get to take my son and daughter-in-law. Um, it's with my husband. It feels magical in so many ways, and it's very overwhelming. So sometimes overwhelm can be the things that we don't want in our life, but sometimes the overwhelm, I think there is always going to be overwhelm when we are expanding our capacity. And that's what we all want. We all want to grow. We're all here wanting to become a better version of ourselves. And so when we are expanding our capacity to receive and to do more, it's going to feel overwhelming. It just is. We're bringing more into our life. I mean, facilitating a retreat and then turning around and going on a trip with my family is exactly the life that I want. It is exactly what I have been desiring and hoping for and dreaming about for years. And there is this reality of it that I'm growing. And so it feels really overwhelming. And so one of the things that I like this morning, my to-do list is literally like this long. It's those like going to bed at night and writing down the to-do list, waking up this morning and adding more to it. There's just a lot to do. And I had to make the conscious choice to stop. And this morning, for the last 45 minutes, I have been in prayer, breath work, meditation, because I know that the calmest person in the room is the most powerful person in the room. And I'm going to be able to tackle this mile-long to-do list in a completely different energy when I'm grounded first. So yes, there's still the feelings like when I sat down to do my breath work, it's like check in with myself. Oh yeah, there's so much, there is a lot of anxiety here. It's like, you know? So it's just being grounded, coming home, finding a spot that feels like this is like yes, it's possible, it's doable. And that's the process of growth. It's that expansion and that overwhelm and and bringing our nervous system back to a place of safety that feels like, and it's okay, I can do this, and I know how, and I know the next step. So what do you do? Very curious
I was like,
about.
that's so good because it's funny because when I talk a lot about overwhelm with clients. A lot of the clients I have are overwhelmed, especially with burnout. But you're talking about a different type of overwhelm, right? Like the overwhelm that I usually see or that I experience is when my to-do list does get too big. And usually the to-do list gets too big when you're saying yes to too many things. In your case, like these are things that have to get done before you leave. It's not like our typical, daily to-do list. And so um, for me, and I loved what you said of like overwhelm can be because you're expanding. It's not necessarily a negative or a bad thing. It can also be a good thing. And I've never really thought about that like perspective. And I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like overwhelm can be a good thing because you're shifting into something different and it feels like, oh my gosh, I don't have the capacity to handle this. But that like slowing down and just stopping and getting quiet, that's something that I've really been working on for the last, I don't know, maybe 2 years of like when I feel like, oh my gosh, it's go, go, go. Like I got so much stuff to get done. Really like just taking the time to journal and to pray and to get quiet because I know that that is going to set my day up for such be more productive. But I think it's easy when you have so much going on to want to just go right into it because it feels stressful and anxious. But like you were talking about, that's not always the best place to be. It's not always the most productive, even though our brain is productive. And so I love that you're like, I just had to spend time and just get quiet. For me, in the sense of like overwhelm, if it comes to my to-do list, something that I started to learn, gosh, I don't even know, maybe 7 years ago. This was like such a game changer for me. Just in like, if you're like, oh yes, like I'm overwhelmed, but it's more like I just have so much to do in my business and my life and, you know, that kind of aspect. I teach something that's called priorities over to-do lists because our to-do lists are mile long. Like we have a million things on our to-do list every single day. And so instead of focusing on all the things you have to get done and getting to the end of the day and being like, I got nothing done. Like I had 10 things I wanted to get done and I got 2 of them done. And then you feel like this failure and that's frustrating. And so something for me is really like prioritizing my day and kind of creating like buckets. So I brain dump everything that's on my to-do list. And then I create different categories. And so I have the things that are the should do's. That could be like, I should do the laundry, or I should wash the dishes, or I should do this thing that somebody else is expecting me to do, or, you know, society says that I should do. So I have like the should do's, and then the want to do's. Those are usually like the energy giving activities. Like I really want to do this. Those are usually the things that people put down on the bottom list. When I get XYZ done, then I can do the things I want to do. And those things never come around. Those are like the self-care things, right? Like the really like soul rejuvenating things. And then the things that you need to do, like the absolute have to get this done, like you today, Misty, like absolutely have to get this done. And then I choose like 3 to 5 priorities for that day. And I only get to choose 3 to 5. And if I get through that list, I can go back to my list and be like, okay, this is next on the list. And so really prioritizing and choosing like what actually needs to get done today versus what do I feel like, because there's so much in my brain, it has to get done. Like if you really look at all the things you write down, a lot of times it's like that really doesn't need to get done till tomorrow or till Thursday or, you know, till the next day. And so that literally changed my life. It's something that I teach all my clients that like, it's just such a game changer. The other thing that I wanted to say with overwhelm in the aspect of just like general overwhelm too, is like recognizing also where you're at in your cycle, because for females, this is for females, this doesn't apply to males, but for females, you will have points in your cycle where you feel more overwhelmed and like you just do not have the capacity to take on as much. And I know for me, it used to be like, what is wrong with me? Like, and I used to get so mad at myself. And the reality is it was just hormones. And it's just how my body naturally was. And so instead of being mad about it, how can I shift my mindset to be like, okay, but what can I do? Maybe I need to stop and do breath work and really leaning in and focusing on what are the things I can do to calm myself down so I can get in a more peaceful place so that I can continue on with what I need to do.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the priorities over tasks. I love that concept. And I think that one of the things that really helps me to prioritize and to really get to the truth of what is a true priority, because sometimes our mind tells us one thing and our body tells us something different. Like the mind is saying the laundry has to get done today, and our body is telling us, no, actually, stillness has to get done today. Like I need space to just sit in stillness. When I very first started meditating, this was like 10 years ago. And it was literally because I had digestive issues. I was a runner and I knew that my cortisol levels were shooting up when I was running. And I knew that that was contributing to my digestive issues. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just try this meditation thing. And like, hopefully that will decrease my cortisol levels after I run, right? Like very logical approach to it. And when I sat down and gave myself permission, again, it was the permission. It was like, okay, this is something good that I'll take 5 minutes and I'll just breathe and I'll lower my cortisol levels so that my stomach can actually function. But when I sat down and started breathing and had that 5 minutes of stillness, my body craved it. Now, I can't say like in the first 2 months, even 6 months, that I felt like massive shifts and like I have no anxiety. And I definitely did notice a difference in my digestion. I will say that. But what kept me in the practice of it was my body telling me this is what you need. It was like, in fact, several of the women, there was 2 women in particular at the retreat. The retreat I just ran was Be Still and Know. And both of them said, I didn't see anything other than the word stillness. And I just thought that is what I need. Because when we can get into that place of stillness, that's when we can truly see what our priorities are. Like, I love that idea of bucketing everything and adding the stillness in to say, okay, which of these are my top 3 to 5 priorities? Because it may look different after you tune in than it did just coming from a brain perspective and just like, okay, what do I need to get done?
Yeah, that's so funny because so for me, I had a really hard time being still. Like, I am a high achiever. I'm like, go, go, go. I did not like journaling. I did not like being still. And so for me, the priorities over to-do list, I had to start prioritizing, like, this is number one in my day, is to get still, is to do the thing that I know is going to create more stillness and peace. And for me, that is journaling and praying. And so I had to do it the opposite way because I couldn't get my brain to shut off from the to-do list and all the things that I had to get done until I was able to, like, okay, no, I can prioritize this in my day. And now, like, sometimes if I don't, like, we have our early morning meeting, right? I haven't done this yet, but I will do it after. And sometimes I have, like, especially on Tuesdays, I create more space to do this even more because my husband drops the kids off at school and I don't put a lot of stuff on my calendar. And so I create even more space on Tuesdays because on other days, I sometimes have to be like out the door really early. So there's all sorts of different ways to create stillness. And I love that, like, be still and know. Because I know, like, that was so hard for me. And I find this for a lot of high performers that I work with, is that stillness feels so hard. And, like, they are so resistant to it. They do not want to do it. But the nervous system regulation that happens from, like, breath work, like, Misty, I know that I was really resistant to breath work for a while. And I remember doing that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need this in my life to calm my nervous system down, because as high performers, we're in this high stress state a lot. And if you can just get your system to calm down, and I talk about the RAMP method, rest, align, master, peak. And rest is a strategy. Stillness is a strategy. And as high performers, a lot of times we think that it's wrong or it's bad or we don't have time for it. But the greatest athletes in the world were the greatest athletes in the world because they strategically rested and got still. So, so good. I love this conversation. This is like one of my favorite things to talk about. But that, and really, I don't know, and I don't think I ever really recognized this, but and part of it is, like, really that self-awareness of what's going on in your body, because I didn't realize that I was in a high stress state most of the time. And when I started to become more aware, I realized, like, I was holding my breath or I was getting neck tension. And so it's taken a lot of years to now recognize, like, oh, this isn't normal. Like, I'm feeling this. This might be common, but it's not normal. And I need to do something to shift out of this state that my body is in. It's telling me I need to slow down. It's telling me I need some rest. I need some stillness. And stillness, the creativity that comes out of stillness and rest. And Misty, I know you talk about this a lot. And, we do retreats together, but Misty is facilitating them and I get to be a part of it. And every single time she walks us through a breath work or a meditation, I get different answers that I like have been so frustrated that I can't find in any other way. And then all of a sudden it's like, I think it's one thing. And then it's like, nope.
Mhm.
Uh, and so that stillness is powerful. And we were designed to be creative, but we can't be creative if we're on all the
Yeah.
time.
And that is the pathway to knowing in a different way. If we're going to continue to seek answers and find solutions to situations that we're frustrated about in the same way that we've always gone about finding the solutions, which is most of the time by trying to gather more information. Like, I'm going to listen, I'm going to find this podcast that's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to talk to my friend who's doing something similar and figure out what she's doing. And I'm going to create this plan and I'm going to figure it out. And we use it's all up here. And what I find is that we give all of our power away and then wonder why we feel powerless. Because where the power is, where the answers are, we're just looking in the wrong places. And that was one of the things that the women said. It was fascinating. Just watching them go through the process. They each had a goal or an intention that they had for the retreat, something that they wanted to create more of in their life, a better relationship with their kids, more understanding about what's next for me. There were, people that were like in transition. There were women that were saying, like, I'm transitioning out of being home with my kids all the time. And now I'm in this place of, I don't know what's next for me. What's my purpose? But they had never stopped long enough to find the answers inside. And one of the women at the end, when she was talking about her takeaway from the retreat, she's like, I have every answer I need inside. She got the situation that she had been working on for years that had felt hopeless. Like, how many times am I going to try to solve this problem that I'm working on? And it's one of those things where you take 2 steps forward and feel like you're falling back again. And she felt like she'd been fighting against the same problem for years and years and years and years. And the answers that she received, because she was guided into her body and heart, not her mind, were completely different than what she had received before, and filled her with hope. She was excited about going home and approaching the situation from a different angle. She felt empowered. She felt calm. She felt confident. All the things that she didn't feel at all in the beginning. And it wasn't anything that I said. That it wasn't me saying these are the answers. It was her understanding and finding the answers for herself in the stillness, in all the different ways that and that was, that's what I teach, is that there is not just meditation is one way of being still. There are so many other ways that we can listen differently. Instead of trying to find the solutions in our mind, find them in our body and our heart. And the wisdom this bears is powerful.
Yeah, even like uncovering limiting beliefs for people, this is such a powerful exercise. And one of the things that I will have clients do is just take a deep breath, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And I want you to identify, like, where is pain in your body? Where is stress living in your body? And name it. Is it anxiety? Is it stress? Is it overwhelm? What is it? Name it. And then what is it attached to? Because if you can start to have that awareness of where your body is carrying stuff, then you have the awareness of, like, okay, something is off and I need to change it, and something needs to get different. And a lot of times it is just that it's quieting their body and getting them out of their mind to get the answers. And, I've seen this. I actually had a client, Lisa, actually, she was like, my calendar is managing me and I don't know what to do about it. And so it was like asking that question of, like, okay, well, is everything on your calendar like in your values and your priorities? And she was like, no. Why? I don't know. And so we did that exercise. Okay, let's get quiet. And it was immediately, it was like, because of people pleasing, like I feel guilty, I feel fear, I feel, if I do this or say this. And so if you can get quiet long enough, like Misty's talking about, like the answers are in there. And it's such a powerful exercise because we get so stuck up here that we don't even know how to listen to our bodies because we've never really been taught. We've just always
Mhm.
classrooms and everybody's always told us the answers or told us what to
Yeah.
do and how to do
Yeah.
it.
I have said to many of my clients, it's like, it's not a Pinterest board quote. Like, oh, the answers are inside. Like that, it's something that we all intuitively know. Like if I were to come to somebody and say, do you believe that all the answers are inside of you? They would be like, yes, absolutely. But let me go figure out my answers over here. Like, because we are not taught. We don't know how to do it. And it's also very uncomfortable because we have a lot of programming around giving ourselves permission to be unproductive.
Yeah.
And it feels really, like, let me I want to take a course on how to build my website over being still and finding the answers of what is my next aligned step in building my business. Right? It feels more comfortable. It feels like, well, I'm doing more. Like I'm being productive. I'm building my website. I'm building my business. When in actuality, that may be priority number 217.
Yeah.
Right? But it's coming back to this place of actually knowing and being taught how to find the answers inside. And like you were saying with the limiting beliefs, well, I talk about the invisible brick walls all the time, that place where you feel like you're running into the same invisible brick wall over and over and over again. You're not getting the results that you want. And that's because it's a subconscious belief. We're not even aware of it, but our body is.
Yeah.
Our body knows. So yeah, dropping into the pain and understanding what the messages are in your body is a really powerful practice.
Yeah, so powerful. And I will say this isn't just for women. So if men are watching this like this, I've done this in workshops where I've had men do this too. And they're like, oh yeah, like I'm holding that in my stomach and it's because of, XYZ. And it's so for a long time, I'm like, oh, it's like too girly. It's not girly. It's like all of us have the need to be still and we all have within us. And so just wanted to say that too, because I know that we have men that watch this as well sometimes. Misty, well, let's wrap up and we'll let you get packing and going for Croatia. How long are you gone?
Until the 15th. So like 12 days.
Wow. How long is the flight?
Oh, so long. I'm not looking forward to that. It is, we fly from Salt Lake to France and then France over to Croatia, but it's a long flight.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds like an entire day at least.
At least, yeah.
We'll have so much fun. I'm so excited for you to go spend that time with your family.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to hear all about it when you come back.
I know, me too. Memories made.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.